Most companies have policies. Some even have privacy officers. But here's what they don't have: any idea what their vendor's AI is doing with your customer data. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the biggest legal blind spot in AI, one that could leave even the most sophisticated companies legally exposed, ethically compromised, and completely unaware. My guest is Sam from Hogo.io, a startup built by former privacy officers who got tired of watching companies get blindsided. They're using AI to fix the mess AI made. And trust me, what he reveals in this episode will change the way you look at third-party vendors forever. This isn't just a legal episode, it's a warning shot. And it's one every compliance team, founder, and board member needs to hear before the regulators do. Let's get into it. Welcome to Lead with AI. I'm Dr. Tamara Nall. In each episode, we will take you behind the scenes with visionary leaders shaping the future of AI across public and private sectors. Join us as we explore groundbreaking projects and innovations that are transforming industries and making a real impact on people's lives. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. How are you? This is Dr. T, your Lead with AI host, and I am thrilled to have Samuel Solberg here, who is the co-founder and CEO of Hogo. Sam, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm amazing. I'm suffering from a little bit of jet lag because I've been a month and a half traveling, and my body says it's 3 p.m. versus 9 a.m., but we're going to go. Hopefully, I look like I'm refreshed.
You look extremely refreshed.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So, Sam, we are excited to talk about Hogo, but I always like to first start with kind of a foundational question, which is around you and what drives you at your core. Like, what are your core values, and how did that lead to your founding Hogo?
Happy to share a bit about my background because I do think it's very important in the context of what we're building. It's not a hot topic. It's not people will hear compliance or privacy or regulations. They're like, oh, I want to dive into that. So
most of the time they think about it after an incident happens.
Right, not because they want to, because they have to. Right. So there's not much joy in it or excitement usually. I actually started my professional journey, I guess, as a corporate lawyer.
Okay.
And I actually I define myself as a recovering lawyer, even though that's been I don't know how many years. Big law, a lot of investments, M&A, commercial, mostly in the tech sector. And then by chance, in one of the deals, I came across something called DPA, data processing addendum, and it just sucked me into this whole world of privacy. And GDPR came, et cetera, et cetera. And this whole lawyer thing isn't for me. It's limiting me also geographically because you can only practice where you are accepted to the bar.
Very true.
And so I moved to a consultancy and became a privacy consultant and an external data protection officer, DPO, what's called. And I was serving mostly global tech companies. And that's where me and my co-founder was a colleague at the time. Fundamental disconnect where companies, need they were innovating really fast. They want to innovate really fast, and then this cloud of regulations, and the DPO and the lawyers come in and say, "Wait a minute, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that." And that just, it's a lot of pain that we personally felt while working at the consultancy because we were working with them. We were also often the people saying, "No, you can't do that." Well, we try not to do that. We try to say, you can do it, but do it this way. Don't do it the other way. Or maybe don't collect all of that data, only collect part of that data, for example.
Right.
But the amounts of efforts and resources that companies were throwing at it to try to make that pain go away, especially when it comes to third-party compliance, it was just insane, right? Chasing questionnaires, reviewing contracts, DPAs, constantly trying to keep spreadsheets updated across departments. A lot of manual, repetitive work. And so we said, there's got to be a better way for this. The thing is, it's a very complex field or sector. So there's not some, just like a quick technological fix around it. You can't just, build an API or whatever and just make it go away. Or, you can't just build a wrap around an LLM and kind of.
Right.
Yeah. So, we start with kind of this vision of turning digital compliance from a blocker to an enabler. To enabling what we call responsible innovation.
Got it.
And also giving a competitive strategic advantage.
That's good. Now, our listeners love to hear about moments, aha moments. So in this, I call it the holy smokes moments. And that is when do your customers, when do people first realize how great Hogo is, and talk to us about that moment where it's like, oh my gosh, this changes everything for me. All of this complexity, all of this compliance, vendors, employees, data, and now Hogo is simplifying it. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I like it actually, the holy smokes moment. We call it the aha moment. I guess that's more of the, most people call it the aha moment, but the holy smokes, I'm going to adopt that. It's a tricky one because it's so complex. It's not a simple aha moment. It's not Hogo's not built for an everyday user. It's a B2B. It's pretty niche. We focus on in-house.
And our guests are B2B managers. They work in corporations and are dealing with these issues. So we have both consumer guests, and those consumer guests on the personal side have that, but on the business side, they're all professionals. So
yeah. I always say that every B2B is a B2C.
Correct.
Right. But it's a very specific, like we said at the beginning, right? Compliance is not something that people get excited about. So when you look at a company as such, there's a lot of data coming in, a lot coming out. I'm mostly focusing on the tech companies, if you will, or data-driven companies. There's a lot of data, and there's a lot of sensitive and personal data. It's coming in from all kinds of departments. It's being used for all types of different purposes. And then there's regulatory requirements. You need to do ABC. You need to have the report. You need to have an overview, and you need to assess your vendors, your third parties. You need to know who you're sharing it with, where they're located, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that is a very time-consuming process, and usually is not done properly. And with Hogo, it's automated. And the aha moment, I think, was one of our clients who was very experienced, a lawyer, who I'm sure saw plenty of different solutions, saw the results of our automated risk assessment results, the output, and his face was just it was a very rewarding moment because we put so much effort into it, and to get that kind of an output that is so specific based on their use case, their location, their company sector, everything. It was really a big moment, and that was an aha moment because you're not going to get that from just prompting an LLM.
Right. And then what did Hogo do for them? Like, give me like some of the output that not the specifics, because I know that can be confidential. But what did it do where it brightened up his face and was like, oh my God, these people have saved my job?
Yeah, it's basically saved him from hours, if not days, of collecting different documents, reviewing contracts,
Got it.
back and forth emails to the vendor, asking questions as in who's your sub processors, where are they processing it, what types of data they're processing. All that is included in our profiles. Okay. And it then conducts a risk assessment. So it tells them that this vendor has a third party in country X, make sure that the current the transfer mechanisms are in place. So it also gives mitigation steps, and it also gives the reasoning behind the risk that's flagged. And then there's also different levels of risk. So you can accept the risk, you can mitigate the risk. There's a lot of options.
Got it. Okay, that helps paint a picture. That really does help paint a picture, because you're right. It's very hard for companies to try to give a risk profile to their vendors. I mean, they don't know all of this, or that vendor has, business in a particular country, etc. So that's amazing. And then break it down. You were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier. I mean, my guests are very, very curious. If we were to open up Hogo and look underneath the hood. How is it working? Is it that, your customer has all of the vendor documents housed on their system, and then you're tapping into Hogo? Like, how does it work?
So yeah, that's a really good question. So yeah, we have a different approach. We actually collect data from public sources.
Okay.
Most of it, the vendors' website, but also other sources such as news outlets, etc. And we build profiles. We have a database of currently about almost 1,000 vendors. It's constantly growing, and those profiles basically list or include all that information that somebody would need to conduct an assessment. So
Got it.
locations, third parties, etc. And that combined with the specific use case of the client, their size, their sector, etc., gets combined, and based on that, the risk is assessed. So every use case is different. This is why it's so challenging to build a tool that actually delivers in this sector.
Right. And are there certain specific industries that you focus on over others?
Currently, we're focusing on, say, HR. It's tech companies, right? So we're talking digital compliance. Mm-hmm. It's not just privacy. We're also looking into other regulations. It's mostly EU regulations, though, at this time, because in the US, they're still not quite sure how to approach the topic.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother, I think, do a whole podcast on that. HR tech provides platforms, customer service, fintech, also very relevant, heavily regulated. So it's
now. What if I'm a vendor and I'm a sneaky vendor? Let's say there's not that much stuff out there.
A lot of them. There's a lot of those.
Okay, good. And then what if I just put up a basic website? How are you going to help your customer if I'm intentionally doing this, or maybe unintentionally? Maybe I'm just too busy. How are you going to create a risk profile and there's not that much public information on it?
So we have a benchmark as a minimum types of data that we need in order to conduct a risk assessment. For the profile, we have this option of a vendor can go in and claim their profile and complete the information that's missing. And then also embed that on their website as a trust center. They can share it. There's a lot of different options, or the client can send the vendor a request to fill out the missing information. So there's a lot of different workarounds, options that we've built exactly for those cases, because we're familiar with the vendors that have nothing on their website.
And I guess that's a flag in and of itself, right?
Correct.
If I'm not
100%.
completing the information, if you can't find anything, if they're not answering the customers, that in two of itself is like a high red flag, and probably would give the recommendation we need to beware.
Correct.
Maybe not.
There's a differentiation between the ones that intentionally don't put the information on and those that just haven't gotten to it yet. And then we can talk about privacy maturity, saying they're not mature enough to have all that information ready. Or the ones that are sneaky and they're not providing it because they don't want to. So there's a difference there. But it is a flag, yeah.
Got it. Now, I believe that everybody kind of has a victory routine, a victory dance. I mean, you're a corporate lawyer, so maybe you went from case to case to case. Hopefully, if that was the case, you've changed it now that you're a founder. You kind of gave us an example of the customer and his face, lit up. We like another example. Like, what is something where even you surprised yourself? Hogo surprised you, and you were sitting there kind of like, did I birth this? Did I create that? And if you want to give us your happy dance, you can do that too, or whatever your victory cheer is. But what is that moment where even your product, Hogo, outproduced what you thought it ever could?
So I won't do the victory dance because maybe it'll make me happy, but anyone watching would get very upset because I'm sure it's disturbing. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Probably better that way. I think one of the main things that Hogo, where I envisioned it, but I didn't. It's the branding and the UI and the UX, because one of them, like I said from the beginning, right? It's not a topic that people get excited about. It's boring. Any platform out there is very corporate, cold, very technical. there's no user experience. There's no,
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to go into those platforms. And this is I can't take the credit for it. It's all my co-founder Noah.
Okay.
She's amazing, and she just came up with this brand and this messaging, this tone about Hogo, and it just makes the whole experience so much nicer.
Right.
And I think that I envisioned it, but I couldn't imagine that it came out so good. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And I love that you gave her credit for that. So
Yeah,
what's her name?
Noah, she's the COO. She was the colleague at the consultancy, and
Okay.
we
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Now, there's a lot of ethical concerns. I mean, you are working with a lot of data, you're pulling a lot of data. How do you make sure that you're watching those ethical lines and remembering that there is like a human behind it all?
Yeah. It's once the word ethic comes up, it's a tricky one because there's no clear definition, at least not one that I know of. So like ethical lines, from the beginning, for numerous reasons, we said we don't want access to any company data, customer data, anything. We're working with metadata, so that the actual risks of what we do on our end, there aren't that many ethical concerns. Let's put it that way. Having said that, a company relying on us to choose and assess their vendors, that could lead to ethical lines being concerns. And so we do make sure that we always have, for any significant results or outputs or changes, there's always a human in the loop. Verifies, and we're experienced professionals, certificates across the globe. So I'm not going to get into the letters. So we have a human in the loop. We make sure to get, I guess you call it QA it.
Yep.
It out. And also we make sure to amplify that we are assisting legal counsels, internal legal counsels, DPOs, chief privacy officers, what have you. We're not replacing them. We're getting rid of all of their manual work, the headache, the repetitive work, but we're not there to replace them. We're there to give them the time to actually focus on the more important stuff.
More important, high value tasks. Okay, that's what. Now let's talk about the future. What does the future look like? If you could put on your futuristic glasses, what does Hogo, the future of Hogo, look like, and what it's going to do and how it's going to change the world?
So I don't think it's going to affect the everyday person as much directly. Indirectly, however, it's going to have a big effect because companies, and this is what our vision mission is, that this compliance aspects of things, which I strongly believe are, they're there to protect our individual rights, our interests, our values, our society. And if companies have a way that it's integrated into their business, into their day-to-day, where everything's happening, all the manual work, what you just got, is gone, and they can actually use it as a competitive advantage, then the regulations are better implemented and the individual is better protected. Yeah, making compliance, giving it the place it deserves, without causing people to get frustrated and pull out their hairs.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Now, make us believers. A lot of people say they have a lot of products, and for our listeners who do work for corporations, they are, leading compliance departments and regulatory and vendor management, etc. What's something that they can do this week to really see, feel, believe in the power of Hogo?
Well, very easy. First thing, you can find us on LinkedIn, Hogo. You can find us on the website, hogo.io. You can find us individually on LinkedIn, obviously, as well. The founders, you can reach out to us directly over LinkedIn or an email to the website. Happy to get on a call, show you a demo. Okay. If you're not one of those people that like to talk to people and you just want to say, just show me the product, I don't care, let me try it out, well, then you can go on our website and sign up, and you have a 7-day free trial. you can then test it, pop around, poke around a little bit, and then and see if you're convinced. And you can always, there's we can shoot us a chat on through the app, through the platform, and we can. There's also self-serve. You don't even have to talk to anyone. You can convert automatically through the platform. You don't have to talk to anyone. And this was one of my requests, because I never wanted to talk to anyone. I didn't want those endless sale loops.
Podcast, Sam. No, whatever.
I meant more on the sales side, right? It's like you check out a platform, and then for 3 months you're getting, like, can I offer you this? Can I offer this? Like, if I wanted it, I would have converted. I didn't, right? So like, for me, I just give that option,
right,
for the self-serve.
Yeah, and it's all in the captions. It's below, it's above, it's to the side. Hoggo, but it's HOGGO. And as he said, he has a version for the introverts and a version for the extroverts.
That's very good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So my next question is what I call from one genius to another, and that's where one of our former guests has a question for you. So your question is, what is your favorite movie and why?
It's gonna be cliche, I think.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a bunch that I have on top, but there's one that I just can't. I could watch it over and over again. That's The Godfather.
The Godfather. Yeah, we get that a lot.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's why I say it's cliche.
I've had it before, yes.
Yeah, I would even say The Godfather 2 more than 1.
Okay.
Because I don't know. Yeah, it's it's the story of the father, how he came to America and how he built it. I just relate to it a lot. From a personal life, I also moved to a new country at a very young age and had nothing, and no family, and then you start building, you start checking.
Yeah.
It also gives like a different perspective on what many in society will call like the bad mob, as in, wait, there's a reason why he had to do what he did, right? He had to survive. He had to tend for his family. He didn't have any other opportunities in the new country. I'm not saying they were great, but it gives a new perspective on how society sees certain groups and situations. That's my
Godfather 2.
That's my intellectual answer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do the bonus rapid fire. Most overrated tech trend.
AI.
Okay. Most underhyped AI breakthrough.
Explainable AI.
Explainable. Okay, go. Explain that.
Explain. Should I mansplain it or explain it? I don't know too much about. So, like I said, I'm a corporate lawyer in the background, not a techie. But the concept of AI, if you're looking at LLMs, you throw in an input and you get an output. But you don't know why that output is what it is. So explainable AI is basically...
Got it. Yep.
And it's extremely important, especially in the legal...
Oh, it is.
In the legal sector.
It's important to know the sources, to be able to validate. It's very, very important because people use the results as the Bible. And so it's really good.
And this is why we don't rely on LLMs blindly. We have RAG in place. We have all kinds of different mechanisms that make that not an option. The hallucination is not an option in a legal sector. You can't rely. Yeah. There's plenty of cases of where actual law cases were quoted that didn't exist. So,
exactly, and people lost their ability to practice too. Yep.
Justifiably so, I'd say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What's one book everyone should read?
So, this one's not going to be a classic. It's actually a book I am currently reading towards the end of it. It's called Be More Pirate.
Be More Pirate.
Be More Pirate. It's a book written by Sam Conniff, I think is the name. And it's basically challenging the perception, kind of what I said about The Godfather 2, I guess, of the mob, of how people or society perceived the mob to what they were bad. And he's basically challenging also the concept around pirates. But he's saying that pirates were ahead of their time. They were the first ones to offer equal pay and social benefits and et cetera, et cetera. and he's basically transferring that to today modern corporate, if you want, but also other areas, and saying that, you know, you should be more pirate, you should be challenging the status quo a bit more. Don't, you know, don't take everything as is. And it could be small. It can be small things. It doesn't have to be, you know, you don't have to go out and do a revolution, start a revolution, but it's small things as in, okay, so, you know, that manager always gets involved. Why?
Yeah.
Right? Is there a reason for that? So, yeah. That's, yeah, it's something I also relate to. Okay. Be more pirate, yeah. Shout out to Sam Conniff. I actually saw him do a presentation. Very energetic guy, and yeah, it's definitely a nice read.
Awesome. And then tell us your biggest, boldest AI prediction.
Boldest, I think it's the hype, and the hype's going to die down, and I think it already is. People are starting to understand that, okay, it's not, you know, the game changer that everybody thought it was going to be. And it's not going to make everything go away by just throwing a little bit of AI on it. But once that's settled, I think everything that's in the business world anyway, in business context, any of that manual work is going to disappear. Manual repetitive work is going to disappear. Having said that, I also think that that's at a big risk for society. Not risk, but challenge. Because at least in the legal field, the juniors are doing all that manual repetitive work, and that's how they learn. That's how they gather experience. And if we get rid of that, how do we teach juniors, or how do juniors learn? And if we don't have new juniors, how are we going to have new seniors? So
right, yeah. No, I like that perspective. And one that definitely people are talking about in terms of being able to think intellectually and creatively.
Right.
And
critical thinking is definitely, I already see that, sadly going, I mean, there's always a challenge of finding somebody that really does critical thinking, because there's a difference between critical thinking than challenging for the sake of challenging, right? It's actually understanding the other side, but then questioning it instead of just saying, oh, the other side said it, so now I'm going to say no. I heard an interesting analogy actually about pilots, where if you want to get a pilot license, you have to actually fly those small manual planes, and you have to fly them for a certain amount of hours. I don't know about the States, but anyway, don't fact check me on this, but I heard somebody say it, and he was a pilot, so I'm assuming. Okay. And you need to have those hours in before you can start flying a plane on autopilot. And you need to constantly go back and redo the hours for the manual, and it makes so much sense because you're if you know the manual, you can handle the autopilot, but not vice versa. Right? So there needs to become like a middle ground, I think, of the juniors, I guess, where you have like, okay, do the manual. Once you have that figured out, we'll let you play around with the AI.
Yeah. And particularly given what we're seeing a lot with a lot of these plane incidents too, like, you know, and the ability of pilots to be able to, you know, in that emergency situation to figure it out. So, but Sam, I've really enjoyed this conversation. So for everyone, it's HOGGO.io. He's mentioned you can find him, his co-founder, the company on LinkedIn. Are there other social media platforms that you're on where we can find you?
I think there's a little bit on X, but mostly on LinkedIn. We're mostly on LinkedIn.
Yep, that's the go-to. So we really appreciate the time, and we look forward to our listeners trying to go out and improving, you know, their internal communications and their internal operations. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tamara. Thanks, and have an amazing day.
You too. Thanks. Bye, everyone. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in to Lead with AI. I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the cutting-edge innovations shaping AI across the public and private sectors. Until then, keep leading with AI.